You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin. The front door creaked open at exactly 2:23 in the morning. I didn't need to check the clock. I'd been staring at it since midnight. Rebecca thought she was quiet, but that deadbolt always clicked too loud in a silent house. I was stretched out on the couch, fully awake, blanket tangled around my legs, eyes fixed on the hallway like I'd been expecting a ghost. She came in like she didn't live here, like this was a hotel room and I was the stranger renting the couch. She didn't see me right away, just walked through the dark, heels in her hand, hair a little too perfect for a girl's night, skin glowing with a sheen that didn't belong to sweat or perfume. It was the smell that got me, not hers, not the lavender crap she always wore. This was different, masculine, sharp, hotel soap or some guy's shower. Quick note, before we get deeper, tell me which city or country you're watching from. She paused in the hallway like she felt me staring, didn't say anything at first, just froze, like a deer that wandered into the wrong yard. Then she glanced over, noticed me sitting up, and gave me this half smile like she couldn't be bothered to fake anything better. "I'm not in the mood," she said, voice low but not soft. "Don't ask." Then she kept walking, like that was enough. Like that ended the conversation. I didn't move, didn't say a damn word. Her purse hit the counter harder than it needed to. She kicked her shoes into the corner like she didn't care where they landed. I watched her walk away without turning her head once. Not even a nod. No, good night, no, sorry I'm late. Just the sound of the bedroom door clicking shut behind her. She didn't know I'd already figured her out. Not everything, not the full picture, but enough. 3 months ago, I'd have begged her to talk. 2 months ago, I would have yelled. Now, I was past that. I'd stopped trying to fix things and started watching, waiting. She thought she still had the upper hand, thought I was too soft, too slow to catch on. But I wasn't stupid. Not anymore. I stood up, cracked my neck, and walked to the kitchen. If she wasn't going to talk, I'd find out on my own. I poured a glass of water, sat back down, and stared at the black window across the room. My reflection looked like hell. Hollow eyes, skin pulled tight across my cheekbones, mouth set in this crooked line like I was stuck between laughing and punching a wall. I hadn't slept right in weeks. I was too wired, too aware of the shift in the house. Things were off and not in some vague emotional way. Tangible stuff. The routines were gone. Rebecca used to hum when she made coffee. Always the same damn tune. Now, silence. She used to plug in her phone every night beside the bed. Lately, it stayed in her purse. I waited until I heard the soft, familiar rhythm of her snoring down the hall. Then I got up, padded into the bedroom as quiet as I could, and found her bag. The phone was right where I knew it'd be, zipped up in the side pocket like a secret. I didn't feel guilt. I felt nothing, actually. This wasn't some big betrayal. It was routine now, like checking locks before bed. Of course, the screen was locked, but she hadn't changed the pattern, same one she always used. A lazy L shape. I traced it. The phone buzzed and unlocked. I went straight to the messages. No name jumped out. No Rick or Alan or unknown number. Just her group texts, her sister, a couple coworkers I recognized. But there was a gap. A long one. No text between 8:30 and midnight. Nothing sent, nothing received. That wasn't normal. I scrolled through the gallery. Same thing. No new pictures, no dumb selfies like she used to send me when we were still pretending we liked each other. I opened the calendar app, just dinner with Jen at 7, but she came home after 2. Jen lives 20 minutes away. I backed out, locked the screen, and dropped the phone right back where I found it. Zipped the pocket. Walked out like I hadn't touched a thing. Back in the living room, I leaned against the wall, arms crossed. The more I watched, the more it was clear. She wasn't even trying to cover her tracks anymore. Or maybe she thought I was too far gone to notice. She left her keys in the fridge once. No joke? I found them next to the butter tub. When I asked, she just shrugged and said, "Rough day." That wasn't her. Rebecca never lost track of anything. And now, the purse in the bathroom. Shower running, door locked, always locked. It wasn't a leap to say something was going on. But I needed more than instinct. I wasn't going to be the guy screaming at a wife with no proof, only to get played like a psycho. I had to be sure. That's when I started thinking about outside help. Someone who could look where I couldn't. Someone who'd get me real answers without leaving a trail. I didn't want to be wrong, but I was damn sure I wasn't right now. I grabbed my phone, opened my contacts, and scrolled down. There was only one name that made sense: Tim. I didn't call Tim. Not yet. My thumb hovered over his name, but I backed out and tossed the phone on the table. Something about it felt too soon, like I was skipping a step. Instead, I went to the garage. It was barely lit, just one sad overhead bulb flickering, and the place still smelled like sawdust and motor oil. I hadn't touched any of my old project bins in years. They were shoved to the back under a tarp, behind the busted treadmill we swore we'd fixed 2 summers ago. I cleared a path and started digging. Blueprints, permit folders, old invoices. Most of it was useless. But then I saw it. A red plastic file with my handwriting across the tab. Alan. My stomach pulled tight. Back when Rebecca worked at that downtown real estate firm, Alan was her boss. Sleek guy, always in suits a little too nice for this town. Perfect teeth, gym body, drove an imported SUV that looked like a spaceship. I hated him the second I met him. She said he was harmless, married, older, professional, said he treated everyone the same, but he didn't. Alan gave her things. Little things, sure, but they piled up. Cufflinks, real ones, polished silver with some foreign brand name I couldn't pronounce. 2 box seats to the Warriors game, no occasion. And the texts. Running late, let's grab drinks. Presentation crushed, celebrate tonight. You looked incredible today. That one hit me sideways. I remember asking about it. She laughed it off. He's European. They say stuff like that, I let it go. But now, with the silence, the soap, the secrets, that folder didn't feel like a memory. It felt like a clue. I sat on the cold floor and flipped through it. There were receipts from the networking gala Alan invited her to, the one I wasn't professionally appropriate to attend. There was a thank you note with his signature in that pretentious slant, plus a card from a holiday gift basket he sent her when she was out sick. The basket showed up at our house. She said her whole team got them. I never saw another basket. I stood up, grabbed my phone again, and typed his number into the dial pad. I still remembered it. Stupid how some things stay burned in your brain. He answered on the second ring. Hello? It's Jake. A pause. Then, calm as hell. Jake. Wow. Long time? Yeah. I stared at the cracked garage wall like it owed me something. You still talk to Rebecca? Another pause. Shorter. Not in a while. She ever mentioned me? She did, he said. But not recently. That was it. No surprise. No questions. Just a voice that didn't flinch. I'll let you go, I said. Take care, Jake. Click. I stood there a second, phone still in my hand. That didn't feel like closure. It felt like confirmation. He wasn't shocked, wasn't curious why I'd called out of nowhere. He already knew. Maybe not the details, but the vibe. He felt it. I stuffed the Allen folder back into the box and shut the lid. My hands weren't shaking. That surprised me. I thought they'd be. But I didn't need Alan to confess anything. I just needed to remember the truth I'd ignored the first time. I was getting closer. I set the box back on the shelf, wiped the dust from my hands, and went inside. My phone was still on the kitchen table, screen lit up like it was waiting for me. I pulled out a chair, sat down, and called Tim. He picked up with a half yawn. Jake, you busy? Always. What's up? I need you to look into something. Quietly, there was a pause on his end. Rebecca? Yeah. Another pause, longer this time. I didn't say anything else. All right, he finally said. Talk. We met the next morning at a diner on the edge of town, the kind of place nobody looks twice at 2 brothers talking over burnt coffee. Tim slid into the booth across from me, still in that worn leather jacket he always wore when he was working. You sure you want to do this? He asked. I'm past sure. I want answers. He nodded and pulled out a spiral notebook. They'll start from the beginning. Dates, times. Anything that stands out, I laid it all out. The late nights, the locked phone, the lies about friends she hadn't seen in months, the shift in tone when she spoke, the way she avoided my eyes, even when she was sober. Tim scribbled fast. You get her location data? She keeps that off. I checked credit card statements. Yeah, I got access to the joint account. Found a couple hotel charges in Sacramento. One midweek, one on a Sunday. Both under her name. Tim's pen stopped. That doesn't scream work. Nope. He tapped his pen twice, then looked up. All right, I'll track her. You don't ask how. I'll keep the tail clean. Give me 4 days. You think I'm crazy? I think you waited too long, but you're not crazy. I gave him her schedule, or at least what she told me it was. He took it all without saying much. Just folded the notebook, stuffed it in his coat, and left cash on the table before I could reach for my wallet. The next few days dragged. I kept my routine tight, didn't act different. Made coffee, took out the trash, mowed the lawn like we weren't rotting from the inside out. Rebecca moved around the house like nothing was wrong. She even smiled at me once. Fake. Every bit of it. Thursday night, Tim texted, "Got something. Meet me tomorrow." We met in his truck, parked behind a storage facility on the east side of town. He handed me an envelope. Thick, sealed. Photos, receipts, some camera footage. She's been meeting someone. Different cars, same guy, same hotel. My jaw clenched, but I didn't open it yet. She kiss him? Tim nodded. Once, long kiss. Before they went inside, names. I'm working on it. License plates from Reno. Registered to a Richard Granger. That ring a bell? No. Could be a fake name. Could be real, but she's not hiding it very well. Same hotel, same time block, consistent as hell. I opened the envelope. The first picture was grainy. Rebecca getting out of her car, hair pulled back, wearing the blouse I bought her last Christmas. The second one punched harder. Her leaning against a silver Audi, hand on the guy's chest, head tilted like she was already halfway to the room. The timestamp said 6:47 p.m. She told me she was at yoga. Tim stayed quiet while I flipped through the rest. Hotel receipts, phone logs from burner numbers, a snapshot of her checking in under her maiden name. She wasn't even trying to be smart. How long you want me to keep digging? He asked. For now, just archive it. Make copies of everything. You planning to confront her? Not yet. He nodded. You're handling this better than I thought. I'm not handling anything. I'm watching. I took the envelope, sealed it back up, and slid it into my glove box like it was a bill I didn't feel like paying yet. I didn't cry, didn't yell, just drove home with the radio off, hands steady on the wheel. The system was in motion now. I pulled into the driveway just before 7. Porch light was on. House looked normal, too normal, like nothing had ever happened inside it. Rebecca's car was gone. Inside, I dropped my keys on the counter and opened the laptop. 5 minutes later, Tim's email came through. Subject line, video. That's your guy? I didn't hesitate. Clicked the link, full screen. The footage was rough. Parking lot security cam, mounted too high, too far, probably cheap. The timestamp showed last night, 6:41 p.m. Rebecca's SUV rolled into frame. She got out first, looked around, waited. 30 seconds later, he pulled in. Silver Audi. He stepped out like he'd done this 100 times. Slim build, button-up shirt, dark jeans. His face wasn't clear, but the body language was all I needed. Confident, familiar. She walked up, leaned in, kissed him. Not a peck, a real kiss. Long, slow, with her hand on the side of his face. The kind of kiss that doesn't happen by accident. Then they walked toward the side entrance of the hotel. He held the door. She didn't look back. The video ended there. I sat back, stared at the screen. My jaw didn't clench this time. My fist didn't curl. I didn't feel fire in my chest. I felt done. Not sad, not betrayed. Just done. I downloaded the file, saved 2 copies. One on a flash drive, one on a secured folder I'd set up earlier that week. Then I dropped the flash drive into the desk drawer with the rest of the evidence. Photos, receipts, paper trail. That drawer might have been the heaviest thing in the house. I opened the safe, grabbed the manila envelope I'd labeled Plan B, and brought it to the dining table, laid it flat, opened it. Bank documents, updated passwords, account transfers. Everything I needed to walk away clean. I sorted through them with quiet hands, no music, no drink. Just me and the weight of finally knowing. I'd seen enough. I didn't need a confrontation to confirm it. I printed a copy of the hotel receipt with her signature, folded it neatly, slid it into a different envelope marked Rebecca. Then I opened the drawer under the printer, pulled out the divorce packet I had picked up from the lawyer's office 2 weeks ago, before I even had the proof. Guess part of me already knew. I started filling it out, line by line. Full name, date of marriage, grounds, irreconcilable differences. Bullshit legal language, but it would do. I worked through the rest of it steady and slow, the way I used to when laying out foundation lines. Nothing rushed, just straight, level, permanent. By the time I was done, it was dark out. Rebecca still wasn't home. I stood, stretched my back, and stacked the paperwork in order, clipped it together, double-checked every signature line. This wasn't revenge. This was control. This was me taking my life back from whatever mess she thought she could keep me blind to. I slid everything into a folder and locked it in the safe. Then I shut off the lights and went to bed. I was up before the sun the next morning. No alarm, just woke up clear-headed. I made coffee like I always did, black, no sugar, and sat at the kitchen table with the divorce folder in front of me. Rebecca still hadn't come home. First thing I did was call the bank. Transferred my direct deposit into a new account I'd opened the week before, one with just my name on it. They asked if I wanted to cancel the joint card. I said not yet. I wanted to see what she spent. Then I called my old buddy Paul, real estate guy I'd worked with on a few jobs. Told him I was thinking of listing the house soon and wanted to get an updated appraisal. He didn't ask questions, just said he'd swing by next week. I hung up and emailed my lawyer, told her I was ready to file. She replied within the hour, asked if I wanted to serve Rebecca at home or work. I picked work, less drama, cleaner hit. Tim texted once. "You good?" I replied, "Yeah, it's moving." He didn't press. He knew better. I spent the next few days moving money, locking down accounts, changing passwords, rerouting mail. I updated my emergency contacts at work, removed her from every form. Not once did I feel shaky about it. There was no guilt, no hesitation. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I was just cutting her out of the life she'd already stepped away from. She started acting different too. Nicer. Like she could feel the shift, but didn't know why. "Want to do dinner tomorrow?" she asked on Tuesday. I looked at her and said, "Can't. I've got something lined up." She nodded like she believed me, didn't ask what. She smiled more that week too. Cooked once, washed her own damn laundry for the first time in forever. But it was too late. Way too late. I kept quiet. Let her try. Let her play house. Meanwhile, everything underneath was moving. I bought a fireproof lockbox, slid the flash drive inside, along with the hotel receipts and the signed divorce paperwork, secured it all under the bed. One morning, I got up early, drove out to a strip mall on the west side, and met with the lawyer in her office. She printed out the final copies. "This'll be official within 3 weeks, assuming she doesn't contest," she said. "She won't. You want to handle the service, or should I send the process server?" "Let him do it. Office address is in the file." She nodded, slid the papers into a thick envelope, and handed it to me. "It's all ready." I left without a handshake. Just walked to my truck, dropped the envelope in the passenger seat, and lit a cigarette I didn't really want. I didn't feel victorious. I wasn't looking for payback. I just wanted the door to close. I killed the cigarette halfway through and flicked it out the window. The envelope sat on the seat like it was staring at me. Rebecca's office was 10 minutes away. I drove straight there, no music, no hesitation. Parked across the street, waited until I saw the process server walk in with the folder tucked under his arm. I didn't need to watch him hand it over. I didn't care how she reacted at work. That part was hers to deal with. I went home, sat at the kitchen table, waited. The front door opened at 4:52 p.m. She walked in slow, keys in one hand, envelope in the other, face pale like she'd just crawled out of a freezer. "Are you serious?" I didn't stand. I didn't even blink. Completely. She dropped the keys, stepped forward. "Jake, what the hell is this?" "What it looks like? You filed for divorce?" I leaned back in the chair. "What did you expect?" Her voice cracked. "You could have talked to me." I tried. "For months I wasn't," she started, but her throat caught. She glanced at the living room, then back to me. "It wasn't what you think." I stood up and walked to the drawer, pulled it open, took out the folder. I laid the flash drive on the table, then the receipts, then the photos. One by one, slow, precise. She didn't move. "I know about Sacramento," I said. "I know about Rick, and Alan, and whoever else didn't make it into the files." Her face twisted. "You hired someone to follow me?" I nodded. "Yeah." Jesus, that's sick." "No," I said, looking her dead in the eyes. What's sick is you kissing some guy in a hotel parking lot while lying to my face about yoga. She opened her mouth to respond, then shut it. She picked up one of the photos, the blurry one of her outside the hotel, and stared at it like it might change if she blinked hard enough. It didn't mean anything, she muttered. Hey, spare me. I was lonely, Jake. You think I wasn't? She looked down, jaw tight. You weren't the same. You pulled away. No, I snapped. You pulled first. I just stopped chasing after you. Her hands started to shake. She tried to gather the papers, maybe to throw them, maybe just to hide them. I didn't care. I didn't want it to get this far, she said quietly. You got what you wanted. Now I'm just finishing it. Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't flinch. I didn't reach for her. She'd used that card too many times before. Jake, please! I raised a hand. No, we're not doing that. No begging, no pretending. She sank into the chair across from me. So, that's it? That's it. Silence fell like a brick between us. She stared at the table, at the evidence of what she thought she could hide. I don't even know what to say, she whispered. Good. Then don't. She wiped her face, but she wasn't crying. Not really, just stunned. She thought I'd be angry, thought I'd throw things, scream, demand answers. She didn't expect calm. She didn't expect it to already be over. I grabbed the rest of the paperwork and slid it back into the folder. Serve me the response when you're ready, I said. Lawyer's info is inside. She didn't move. I walked past her, into the bedroom, shut the door, let her sit in it. She didn't follow me that night, didn't knock on the door, didn't cry in the hallway. And 2 weeks later, the papers came back signed. No fight, no arguments. Just a shaky signature and a post-it that said, I'm sorry. I tossed the note in the trash. The divorce was final before the month ended. My lawyer called it one of the cleanest cases she'd handled all year. No kids, no joint property battles, no contest. Rebecca didn't ask for anything, not even the couch. She moved out the same weekend the judgment hit, took a suitcase and 2 boxes. That was it. The silence she left behind didn't feel like a void. It felt like fresh drywall, still raw but ready for a new coat of paint. I stayed in the house another week, just long enough to pack what I wanted and meet with Paul about the sale. He walked through the place with a clipboard, taking notes like we weren't talking about the scene of a crime. You still want to list it? He asked. Yeah, let someone else make it theirs. You sure? It's a seller's market. Could be worth holding, I don't want it. He nodded, didn't push. You want cash out or transfer to a new property? Cash. I'm done playing house. The closing date was set for 30 days out. I boxed up the last of my tools, emptied the garage, and scheduled a junk service to haul the rest. I didn't leave a note. Didn't leave anything behind. When I met with my lawyer the final time, she had everything in order. Deed transfers, account splits, tax forms. Rebecca's name was off every page. You're clear, she said, sliding the last folder across the table. That's what I needed. No regrets? Not even close. She smiled like she didn't quite believe me. But I meant it. I wasn't walking away bitter, just empty, in a good way, like finally shaking off a weight I didn't know I was carrying until it was gone. I found a short-term rental on the other side of town. Nothing fancy. 1 bedroom, small patio, enough space for a bed, a coffee maker, and a couple folding chairs. That first night alone, I didn't sleep much. Not because I missed her, just because the quiet was new, honest, the kind that didn't hide anything. Over the next few weeks, I fell into a rhythm. Woke up early, made coffee, went to work, came home. No double-checking calendars, no worrying about who she was texting. Tim checked in once. You good? Better than I've been in a long time. He didn't ask more, didn't need to. I wasn't happy, not in any grand, glowing way. But I wasn't waiting for something to explode either, and that was enough for now. The clouds hung low that morning, thick and gray, like the sky couldn't decide if it wanted to rain or not. I pulled up to the house one last time, parking where I always had, right side of the driveway, just under the crooked basketball hoop we never fixed. The yard was quiet, grass overgrown, porch light still broken. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, and stood there for a second. It smelled like dust and nothing else. No perfume, no candle wax, no scent of dinners or arguments or whatever passed for life in here, just emptiness. The living room echoed with my footsteps. The couch was gone, the shelves were bare. Even the scratch on the floor where her wine glass shattered last year looked faded. I walked room to room, didn't touch a thing. This place never felt like mine. It was always hers. The curtains, the throw pillows, the colors on the damn walls. I lived in it, but I never really belonged to it. And now it belonged to someone else. I stood in the kitchen for a while, staring at the spot where we used to eat breakfast. She always sat by the window, back to the light, hair pulled up, eyes already on her phone. I used to hate how silent those mornings were. Now I miss that silence. Not because it meant anything, but because it taught me to stop needing noise. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I didn't check it. I knew who it was. Rebecca had tried one last time yesterday. Texted something long, probably emotional. I didn't open it, didn't need to. There was nothing left to explain. I walked to the front door, turned around once, gave the place one last look. Not because I wanted to remember it, but because I wanted to make sure I'd forgotten everything that mattered. Then I shut the door. No key left behind, no note, just the click of the lock and my footsteps on the concrete. By the time I got to the truck, the clouds had started to break. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel bitter. I felt done, and that was enough.